Hey, Michael. Man, thank you so much for sharing so openly last week.
Yeah,
How are you
thank you
doing
for.
today?
Well, still feel a little, still emotionally disconnected and tired, and uh, just disconnected from my wife and
Yeah,
from this whole thing called marriage. You know,
it's tough. Listen, I mean, I hear how much pain you're in, and I hear how much pain you're carrying in your marriage and how disconnected you feel. But how's that weighing on your sense of worth, and even your sleep?
yeah, it's really, it's taking a toll on me because, like I shared with you, I'm trying to avoid conflict as much as I can by sleeping on the couch. And, I'm a big guy. It's not comfortable, so I'm not really
Mm,
getting enough sleep.
it's tough.
Um, and, you know, without enough sleep, it's really hard for me to work. During the day, I'm tired, I'm exhausted because, I try to go home early sometimes when she's not home yet and catch a nap, but, it's hard. Some days I have to pick up, you know, our child from school, and I don't have the luxury to take the nap. But if I whenever I can, I just I grab a nap. But it's really not a life I want to continue living. Where I have to secretly take a nap in my own house.
Yeah, I see.
But yeah, it's obviously it's affecting my job. I mean, I've been lucky that my boss is understanding, and I'm still meeting my minimum of what I need to do. So my job is so far not on jeopardy, but you never know what might happen next,
Yeah.
So it's really frustrating to take all that in and just yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. Well, today I'd like us to kind of focus on understanding the thoughts and emotions that are kind of coming up for you, especially in those moments of disconnection. And then maybe we can practice some ways to challenge or reframe them so that you feel more empowered, regardless of what your wife is saying or choosing to do. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good actually.
Sounds
Sounds
good?
really good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's start by thinking about when your wife responds with sarcasm. Okay. Or rejection. What are some of the thoughts that are running through your mind in that moment?
Uh that maybe she's ignoring my actual feelings, and she's downplaying them. She's not valuing my feelings because if you're gonna respond with sarcasm to something that's really bothering me or something that's really heavy on me, um, it just makes me feel undervalued, like a little kid. I mean, not like I don't know if you understand me, but like if I'm really pouring my heart to you and all you can do is just send sarcasm back, it's definitely not a good feeling. So I don't know how to place the feeling, but I just feel undervalued and undermined in that specific time.
Yeah. So I'm hearing like maybe you just feel not valued, or that maybe you're not even mattering enough for her to respond appropriately, or maybe even that you don't feel good enough, or you'll never be good enough, or is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, yeah, because yeah, it's just when someone responds to you with sarcasm and and you're really trying to pour your heart out, it just it's hard for you to feel like you actually are are doing something right.
Hmm.
And the whole story, like where I try to have her, join counseling sometime so we can actually do it together, and maybe that will take away the sarcasm part, and maybe she'll see that it's actually serious. But the fact that she doesn't even want to join counseling, even adds into the fact that it's really not valuable to her, or my feelings are not really valuable to her enough
Mm-hmm.
for her to feel like we should both go to counseling together.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, so if those are the thoughts that you're having, let's connect them to an emotion. Okay, so what kind of emotions are you feeling that are following these thoughts? So, when you feel not valued or you don't matter, what emotion are you feeling?
Um, guess I'm feeling, well, I don't want to say sad. Also, I guess lonely in that sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not the person that's supposed to hear me and support me. Is not is completely
Right.
disconnected. So it makes me feel lonely. This I can't really bring it to our child because
Yeah.
it'll be just too much for them. But the person that I feel like I need to connect to and actually find a solution is dismissing it. So yeah, it makes me feel sad, depressed, I guess, a little
Yeah.
bit that.
Yeah. I hear that. So, we talked a little bit about what type of therapy that, I like to provide sometimes if it works. And so the cognitive behavior therapy that we're going to use today, it talks about a thought with an emotion, and then we figure out and we go from there, right? And so what we're kind of seeing is there's a trigger here. Okay. And so her trigger would be the criticism or the sarcasm. Okay. And that
Yes.
triggers something in you. And then you have your thought, which is I'm not valued, or I'm not worthy, or those are those kind of thoughts that you said you're having. And then you
Yes.
have your emotional reaction, which is feeling alone, you're exhausted, you're not sleeping. And then this is what we call the cycle, right? So you have the event, the thought, the emotions, and then the behavior. Okay.
Yes.
So how we try to break this down, is we have to take our thought. Okay, I am not valued, and then we have to test it. Okay, so are you okay with testing it together?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's test it together. So when you have let's start with the one, I'm not valued. Okay,
Yes.
what evidence do you have that supports that thought? I am not valued.
I'm not being heard.
Okay, but do you have any evidence that counteracts it, that you're valued in other ways?
You mean by her?
Well, yeah, or just in general about yourself, in general.
Yeah, I mean, I feel valued with my son. I mean, he comes home and he really respects me. He's always, um, you know, showing me what he's done at work and really, um, basically likes to spend time with me. He
Mhm.
really enjoys that. So I feel valued as a father. Um, you know, and sometimes my wife will, she'll, and, I know we're just talking about negative things right now, but she also, cooks some nice meals for me, the ones I like. Sometimes that makes me feel valued as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's in general, I
Yeah.
guess.
So the evidence that goes against it would be, that thought, I'm not valued. What evidence goes against it? That's
Okay.
this. Was that what you were saying, was like the rejection or the sarcasm?
Yes.
So
So,
maybe let me explain a little better. So when we're trying to test a thought,
huh?
we have to think, is the thought true, or is it just a bad thought? Is it a distorted thought? Right? Because
Okay.
if you're having
Okay.
a trigger, the trigger makes you feel or think a certain way, but then we have to prove that thought right or wrong. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, deep down, are you someone who is valuable? Does that
Yes.
make sense?
Hmm.
Okay. All right. So, um, we can test it that way, and go back and forth. But it sounds like your wife's behavior is painful more than anything, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, but it doesn't erase your value as a partner. Does that make
No.
sense? Okay. Doesn't erase it as a father, or a man of faith, because remember we talked about, Christianity plays a huge role in that for you. Um, so what could we think of instead of I am not valued? What can we replace it with as a more balanced thought?
Yes, maybe I'm not heard in the moment,
Mhm.
or from misunderstood. I feel like that's a little lighter than being not undervalued.
Hmm. What about, could you say something like, my wife is struggling to connect with me, but I still have worth and influence in how I respond?
Yes.
What about that? So it's not saying I'm not valued, but she is struggling to connect with me, but I'm still worthy and I do still have an influence in how I act and how I respond to her criticism and her sarcasm. What about that? What about replacing that? It's like a more balanced thought. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a
How do
good
you feel
way.
about that?
That's a good way to think about it, actually, because it takes away the problem from me to the other person, and basically the other one's struggling to understand what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, I'm still valued.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So you've shared your your Christian values, right? And that they guide your decisions. Okay. Let's connect those values to coping strategies, for example. Okay. So compassion. Can you extend compassion to yourself, not just for your family?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. What about commitment? Commitment doesn't mean enduring silent suffering, right? It can also mean committing to your own well-being and clarity. Yeah.
Okay.
So, how would it feel for you to practice self compassion by reminding yourself daily that I'm worthy of love and respect, regardless of your wife's actions?
Yeah, that's something I can do.
Okay. So, we do this by, we call it behavioral, like activation. So, we're having a thought, we're having an emotion, right? We're basically reacting to a trigger. So,
Yes.
what we're trying to do now is change the way that we're going to behave instead. Okay. So, sometimes when relationships feel like super heavy, people can withdraw. And if we think of it that way, what is like one small life-giving activity you could commit to this week, whether it's with your son, a friend, by yourself, that reinforces that value in yourself and that gives you joy?
Oh yeah, I mean, I can definitely go to the park with my son. He likes that. He likes to play with the other kids at the park.
Does that give
Um,
you joy?
yes, I
Yeah.
mean because I get to meet other parents, mostly dads, um, and we connect, and we're all like playing with the kids, and it's just fun to get in there and just get dirty with the kids sometimes,
Yeah.
and go home, grab ice cream. So it's an activity that I'm always looking forward to. We don't do it a lot, but sometimes because of the weather and everything. But when every time I get to do that with my son, it's really something I enjoy and brings me
Sure.
joy.
I love that. Well, for our next steps and the last part of our session today, um, we've identified how your wife's criticism triggers painful thoughts for you and how those thoughts deepen your loneliness or sadness. And then we practice reframing it into a more balanced, self compassionate thought, right?
Yes.
And then we've also connected it to your spirituality and ways to cope. This week, though, I want to encourage you to try to do three things. Okay. So I want you to notice automatic thoughts when conflict happens. Okay. And then how do you feel about writing? Is writing okay with you?
Journaling?
Yeah. You like
Okay.
that? Okay.
I can try that.
So we're going to notice the automatic thought when a conflict happens. What's that first thought that you have? And then I want you to practice writing them down and practice challenging them like we did the first step. I don't feel valued, but wait, I am still valuable, right? I am a good dad. I am a good provider. Like all the ways that, so change that I am not valued and challenge it, right? Prove it wrong because you
Yes.
know what's true within you. And then number three, we're going to engage in at least one meaningful activity that affirms your worth, because that's what makes you feel good, right? Is that good activity with your son or something you maybe even you and your wife used to do together that brings you joy.
Yeah.
But try to engage in at least one meaningful thing that affirms your worth. Does that sound okay for some homework this week?
Yeah, sounds good. I have it written down. I'll try it and really looking forward to a change and in our
Awesome.
session next week so we can
Awesome.
debrief.
Okay, well, next time we're going to build on this by exploring some communication strategies. Okay, we're going to set some boundaries um, or even maybe express some needs in some healthier ways.
Sounds good.
I'm really proud of
Thank
you.
you.
You're showing strength by facing this pain directly, regardless of the outcome with your wife. You're investing in your growth and your peace of mind, and that's really good. You're doing a great job.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael.
All right.
See you next
Bye-bye.
week.
See ya.